The Galactic Empire had existed for thousands of years. It controlled more than 800 star systems, commanded millions of ships, and ruled over trillions of alien citizens. No one questioned its strength. No one dared to challenge its power. The Empire believed it was unbreakable until the day a strange signal arrived. It happened on a quiet morning in the Imperial Science Station Orbit 9. Dravel, the chief sensor operator, was drinking his warm blue liquid as usual. His shift was always boring. Nothing ever happened near the edge of the Milky Way. Only empty space, only silence. But today something unusual appeared on his screen. At first he thought it was a glitch. The energy reading was too large, too sharp, too impossible. He tapped the screen twice. The reading remained. He cleaned his scanner lens. The reading grew stronger. He called another operator. They checked, double-checked, and then triple-checked. The reading was real. It was coming from a small, insignificant planet near the edge of a spiral arm, a planet called Earth. Dravel froze. His hands shook. He whispered, "This cannot be. This is human space." Humans were known in the galaxy, but they were not impressive. They were a young species. They had only recently reached faster-than-light travel. Their ships were simple. Their weapons were weak. Their technology was primitive. The Empire did not fear them. The Empire barely noticed them. So how could a primitive species generate an energy pulse stronger than anything in known history? Dravel hit the emergency button. Red alarms exploded across the station. Sirens howled, doors locked. Scientists ran through the halls in panic as the station's artificial voice repeated, "Attention, unidentified power surge detected, level Omega threat." Omega threats were rare. Omega meant danger beyond understanding, something that could rewrite reality, break physics, or destroy stars. The Empire had only seen 3 Omega events in its history. All 3 times millions died. The scientists huddled around the main holo table as the energy wave continued growing. It spread like a storm across space, touching everything, bending everything. Dravel felt fear crawl up his spine. What could create such power? He whispered. No one answered. The station commander, an old Korak warrior named General Varn, marched inside. His dark red armor reflected the bright warning lights. His face was calm, but his voice carried steel. "Report." Dravel swallowed hard. "Sir, the energy reading is beyond calculation. It is equal to the output of a collapsing star." Varn's eyes widened, and the source, Dravel hesitated. His voice trembled. "Earth, sir, humans." Gasps filled the room. A thin scientist with silver skin stepped forward. "Impossible. Humans cannot create this. Their entire planet does not have enough resources to produce such power." Dravel nodded nervously. "I know, but our instruments do not lie." General Varn's voice turned cold. "Send the data to High Command immediately." Within minutes, the Empire's central communication network lit up like a firestorm. Every admiral, scientist, governor, and intelligence officer received the same message: Omega-level event recorded in human territory. On the imperial capital world of Ralzer, the Emperor himself was awakened by his advisors. He stepped into his throne chamber, his face stern but curious. The giant holographic screen showed the energy readings. His 3 hearts beat faster. "Who is responsible for this?" he demanded. The advisor bowed deeply. "Humans, your radiance." The Emperor laughed, a deep, echoing laugh. "Humans, impossible. They struggle to build a proper star destroyer. They have only one small defense fleet. They are no threat." The advisor shook his head. "The data is clear." The Emperor studied the readings again. His laughter faded. His expression hardened. "Call an emergency council meeting at once." The council gathers in a large circular chamber. The Empire's most powerful leaders gathered. Admirals wore dark armor. Scientists wore long glowing robes. The Emperor sat on his high throne, staring coldly at the projection of Earth. "We have one question," he said. "How did humans generate Omega-level power?" Silence filled the room. The Emperor's eyes scanned the council. "Speak." Finally, an elderly scientist stepped forward, Professor Lenvar, one of the galaxy's greatest minds. His voice cracked with age but carried authority. "Your radiance. This energy signature matches only one thing we know: the technology of the ancient builders." The chamber erupted in panic. Ancient builders were a mythical race, a vanished civilization older than galaxies. Some believed they created wormholes, black holes, maybe even time itself. Their ruins were almost impossible to find. Their technology was too advanced to understand. The Emperor narrowed his eyes. "You believe humans discovered ancient builder technology?" "Yes." The professor answered softly. "It is the only explanation." The Emperor leaned forward. "If this is true, humanity has just become the most dangerous species in the galaxy." The scouts are sent. General Varn received new orders. "Send a scout fleet to observe Earth immediately, but remain hidden. Do not engage, do not communicate, only watch." Within hours, 12 stealth ships departed from the Empire's nearest outpost. They traveled silently across space, their black hulls absorbing all light. They stopped a safe distance from Earth and turned on their long-range scanners, and then they saw it. The human planet was surrounded by activity. Dozens of construction platforms floated in orbit. Giant metal rings spun around each other, glowing with strange energy. A massive structure larger than any Imperial battleship was forming. The scout commander, Captain Rakkar, stared in disbelief. "What are humans building?" he whispered. His second-in-command replied, voice shaking, "A megastructure, sir, something beyond our understanding." Rakkar zoomed in. Humans were walking on the outside of the structure, protected by small energy shields. They moved fast, too fast. Machines worked beside them, bending and shaping metal without touching it. "What kind of technology is this?" Rakkar muttered. Suddenly, the scanners picked up something even more shocking. Space around the structure was bending. Light was curving. Gravity waves pulsed outward. One of the scout pilots screamed, "Sir, this is impossible. Humans cannot manipulate space-time." Rakkar said nothing. He felt a cold dread inside his chest. The desperate call Rakkar opened a secure channel to the Empire. "General Varn, you need to see this." The live footage streamed into the Imperial High Command. Leaders across the Empire stared in stunned silence as humans continued building their impossible structure. The Emperor's jaw tightened, his face paled. This is not human technology," Varn whispered. The Emperor nodded slowly. "No, it is something far older." An admiral stepped forward. "Your Radiance, if humans finished that structure, they could surpass us. They could overthrow the Empire." Another commander said, "We must act now. We must stop them." "Are you suggesting war?" the Emperor asked. The commander swallowed hard. "Yes, before it's too late." The room grew silent. The Emperor looked at the scouts' footage one more time. He saw humans glowing with light, bending reality, building something that should not exist. For the first time in decades, he felt fear. He finally spoke, "Prepare for possible conflict, but first continue observing. I want to know exactly what humans are creating." Far away on the edge of the galaxy, Captain Rakkar watched the human megastructure grow. He felt as if a storm was coming. A storm no one could stop, he whispered to himself. This should not be possible, so how did humans do it? Captain Rakkar remained inside his dark command deck, staring at Earth from a safe distance. The blue planet looked peaceful, almost harmless, but the energy readings on his screen told a different story. They told the story of a species that had suddenly become something else, something dangerous, something unpredictable. His fleet floated silently in high orbit, hiding behind a thick patch of cosmic dust. The stealth field around their ships kept them invisible, but Rakkar felt as if humans could sense them anyway. Every few minutes, the megastructure in orbit pulsed with a strange glow, like a beating heart. Rakkar whispered, "What are you humans? What have you found?" "New orders arrive," a soft chime echoed in the scout ship. Rakkar opened the encrypted message from General Varn: "Maintain distance. Do not engage. Observe all activity. The Emperor wants hourly reports." Rakkar sighed. "We are watching, General," he murmured, "but something tells me they are watching back." His second-in-command, Officer Kelra, approached with a worried look. "Sir, reading shows gravity anomalies increasing. Space is bending like liquid. Our engines may not hold if it gets stronger." Rakkar nodded slowly. "Understood. Keep shields up. We need to see what happens next." Inside the human orbit zone down near Earth's orbit, humans worked differently now. Their movements were calm, precise, and strangely confident. They were not using robotic arms or heavy equipment like the Empire's species. Instead, they used small crystal-like devices that emitted soft golden light. When a human lifted a device, metal around them reshaped itself like clay, bending and forming into exact positions. It was technology beyond advanced. It was unnatural. Officer Kelra's voice cracked. "Sir, how do they do that without machines?" Rakkar did not know, but he suspected something terrible. "Ancient builder tech," he whispered. "It must be." The humans seemed unaware of the Watchers. They continued building the enormous structure. It had taken shape now, 3 rotating rings surrounding a central core. The rings hummed with unknown energy patterns, and every time they completed a new section, a wave of power rippled across space. The Empire panics back on the capital world. The Emperor faced his council again. The chamber felt colder today. The air felt heavier. The Empire's scientists stood around a massive display showing the growing megastructure. Professor Lenvar pointed at the glowing rings. "This formation, this symmetry, I have seen this once before." The Emperor narrowed his eyes. "Where?" Lenvar pulled up an ancient record. A hologram of a ruin appeared, an old station floating in deep space. Its design was similar, 3 rings with a central core. This ruin was discovered 300 years ago near the Void Sector. It belonged to the ancient builders. The Empire tried to activate it, but failed. We did not understand the power source. The Emperor leaned forward. "And humans, do they understand it?" Lenvar nodded slowly. "It seems so." A chill ran through the room. One admiral shouted, "If humans control ancient builder technology, they could surpass us in weeks." Another officer added, "Your Radiance, we must destroy the megastructure before it activates." The Emperor held up his hand. Silence fell instantly. "No," he said, "not yet. A rushed attack may provoke something worse. We watch, we learn, we prepare." But inside, the Emperor was afraid, more afraid than he had ever been. Rakkar's crew seized the unthinkable days past. The megastructure grew faster than anything Rakkar had ever seen. It was nearly complete. Human ships flew around it like insects around a hive, but these were no ordinary human ships. They moved silently with no visible engines, as if space itself carried them. Officer Kelra broke the silence. Sir, humans were not like this last year, not even last month. How did they advance so fast? Rakkar didn't answer, he didn't know. But something new appeared on the screen, something terrifying. At the center of the megastructure, a bright sphere of light formed. It was small at first, but it grew bigger with every second. The energy was stable but unbelievably strong. Kelra gasped. Sir, that light is bending space more than any wormhole drive. If it gets bigger, it may tear open something. Rakkar stiffened. Zoom in. The camera focused on the sphere. Inside it, something moved, something huge, something ancient. Rakkar whispered, "What are humans summoning?" Human broadcast starts suddenly. Every ship in Rakkar's fleet lit up with a communication alert. Kelra's voice cracked. "Incoming transmission from Earth." Rakkar's blood ran cold. "Impossible. Our stealth field is active. They should not detect us." The message forced its way through every defense. The bridge darkened. A simple white screen appeared. A human voice spoke, calm, steady, almost friendly. "To the unknown watchers, you do not need to hide." Everyone froze. Kelra whispered, "They see us how?" The voice continued, "We know you are observing. We know you fear what we are building, but do not fear. We mean no harm." Rakkar swallowed. "Humans know everything." The human voice added, "Remain where you are. Do not come closer. Do not attack. We are preventing something dangerous." Kelra looked terrified. "Sir, they sound like they are protecting us." Rakkar shook his head. "Or they are warning us." The broadcast ended. The ship fell into silence. High Command panics even more when Rakkar sent the recording to the Empire. Chaos erupted. Many leaders panicked. Some shouted for war, others shouted for retreat. The Emperor listened to the human message quietly, hands trembling slightly. "What are humans preventing?" he whispered. No one had an answer. Earth's secret revealed back near Earth. Rakkar watched the sphere of light grow larger. The megastructure hummed loudly now. Waves of gravity pulsed through space. Small asteroids shattered from the pressure. Kelra suddenly gasped. "Sir, movement detected inside the sphere." Rakkar's eyes widened. Enlarged, the camera zoomed in deep into the glowing sphere. Inside, a dark, massive shape emerged. A giant door. No, not a door, a gateway. Kelra whispered, voice shaking, "Sir, this is not human technology. This is some kind of portal." Rakkar felt the truth crush him like a weight. The megastructure wasn't a weapon, it wasn't a station, it was a key, and humans had unlocked something ancient. The portal opens. A beam of golden light shot out from the core, filling space with blinding brilliance. The human megastructure stabilized itself. The portal expanded, glowing brighter than a star. The entire scout fleet trembled. Rakkar grabbed the rail. "Shields, full power." Kelra shouted, "Sir, something is coming through the portal." The bridge fell silent. A massive silhouette moved behind the glow, a shape older than civilization, larger than understanding. The crew stood frozen, unable to speak. The portal opened wider and the thing inside stepped forward. Not a ship, not a creature, something else, something left behind by the ancient builders. Something that should have stayed buried forever. Kelra whispered in terror, "Sir, humans have awakened an ancient guardian." Rakkar did not reply because he wasn't sure the Empire would survive what came next. The portal near Earth grew brighter, flooding space with waves of gold and white light. Captain Rakkar shielded his eyes, even though the ship's filters tried to dim the glare. Every sensor in his fleet went into chaos, ringing with warnings that no one understood. "Sir, the gravity field is rising. We are losing our balance." Officer Kelra shouted, gripping her chair. Rakkar tightened his jaw. "Hold the ship steady. I want eyes on the portal. Keep scanning." But the scanners were useless. The waves pouring out of the human-built megastructure were too strong, bending signals into nonsense. The only thing they could rely on was the naked view outside the window, and that sight alone was enough to terrify them. Something moved inside the light. A giant shadow, a shape older than any empire. A presence that made every being in the scout fleet instinctively step back, even though they were inside armored ships. Kelra's voice dropped to a whisper. "Sir, the ancient guardian. Humans have awakened a real ancient guardian." Rakkar said nothing. He couldn't. His throat felt tight as if the very air refused to move. The guardian emerges. The golden light dimmed slowly, revealing the massive figure behind it. The first part they saw was a colossal metallic limb, then a second. Then another. The being had the shape of a titan made of shimmering alloy, taller than any battleship. Its surface wasn't smooth metal, no. It was covered in glowing symbols, patterns that rearranged themselves like living writing. Every shift released tiny sparks of cosmic energy. Kelra trembled. "Sir, it is alive." Rakkar shook his head slowly. "No, not alive, but not dead either. Something in between." The guardian turned its head. Its face was a mask of light and shadow, with two glowing white lines where eyes should be. For a moment, the enormous being seemed to examine the human megastructure as if scanning its own birthplace. Then it looked outward, directly toward Rakkar's fleet. The entire crew froze. Kelra whispered, "Sir, did it see us?" Rakkar swallowed hard. "I think it sees everything." The Empire watches in fear back on the Imperial capital. The Emperor and his council watched the live feed Rakkar had sent. Many leaders rose from their seats in terror. Some fell back, some whispered prayers in old languages long forgotten. The Emperor stared, unable to look away. So the legends were true. Professor Lenvar was pale, shaking. He had studied the ancient builders his entire life, yet he had never expected to see their creation awaken. That being that guardian, it is a protector. The ancient builders made them to guard important gateways and technology. The Emperor leaned forward. Protect from what? Lenvar whispered, his voice barely audible, from threats far greater than any empire. Silence filled the chamber. Another admiral spoke. Your Radiance, humans summoned this. They activated a guardian when we failed for centuries. The Emperor's hand tightened on the armrest. A terrifying thought struck him. Do humans know how to control it? He asked quietly. No one answered. Humans take their position. Rakkar noticed human ships forming a defensive wall around the guardian. Their formation was tight, precise, almost military perfect. Kel resumed the screen. Sir, look at them. They're calm. They're not scared. Rakkar exhaled slowly, because they know something we don't. Humans were communicating with each other silently through light pulses emitted from their suits. Their technology looked nothing like the clunky metal machines that the Empire expected from them. These humans looked like they were using knowledge far beyond their years. It was unnatural, and then something even stranger happened. A single human stepped forward. A lone figure in a glowing white suit floated toward the Guardian. The suit had the same glowing symbols as the Titan. The human held a device shaped like a rod with shifting runes. Rakkar's chest tightened. Kelra record this. Everything. Kelra nodded. The human speaks to the Guardian. The entire scout fleet watched as the small human stopped right in front of the enormous ancient Guardian. The size difference was absurd, a tiny human facing a Titan the size of a station, but the Guardian bowed its head. Kelra gasped. Sir, did it just bow? Rakkar's voice cracked. I think the Guardian recognizes them. The human lifted the glowing rod. A wave of light spread across the Guardian's chest, activating new patterns of symbols. The Titan responded by raising one arm and projecting a massive screen of ancient holographic symbols into space. The symbols began rearranging into something that looked like a star map. Rakkar whispered, what are they showing? The human pointed at a region far beyond the Milky Way. Immediately, the Guardian changed the symbols into something more urgent, dark red spirals like warnings. Kelra trembled. Sir, something is coming from that direction. Rakkar felt his heart drop, and humans are preparing a defense. Human message to the scout fleet. Just then, the human in the glowing suit turned toward the direction of Rakkar's ships and spoke, not through radio waves, not through signals, through space itself. The voice echoed inside the minds of every crew member. Do not fear us, fear what follows. Rakkar grabbed his chair. The voice wasn't aggressive, it wasn't angry. It carried sadness and warning. Kelra's hands shook. Sir, that voice, it was inside my mind. Rakkar nodded. Mine too. The human continued. The Guardian is not a weapon, it is a seal, a lock. Something old and dangerous is waking beyond the galaxy. The scout fleet fell silent. We did not build power to conquer, we built it because the seal was failing, we had no choice. Kelra whispered, humans are trying to stop something worse. The voice reached them again. Leave this zone, tell your leaders to prepare, a storm is coming. Empire leadership breaks. The Emperor slammed his hands on the table. A storm? What storm? Professor Lenvar analyzed the red region pointed by the Guardian. His eyes widened as he understood. Your Radiance, that region is outside the galaxy. There is nothing there, no stars, no life, only darkness. The Emperor hissed, darkness does not produce Omega-level warnings. Lenvar nodded, exactly. Which means something ancient is rising from that void. A dark realization hit everyone in the room. Humans weren't the danger, humans were the warning. Rakkar must make a choice back near Earth. The human's mental message faded. The Guardian moved, placing itself between the portal and Earth like a giant shield. Kelra whispered, Sir, orders, what do we do? The human had spoken clearly. Leave, warn your leaders, prepare. Rakkar's mind raced. If he stayed, the Guardian might take action. If he fled, the Empire might attack humans out of fear. But deep inside, he knew one thing, humans did not lie. Humans were terrified of something far worse than the Empire. Rakkar stood tall. Kelra, signal the fleet, we are retreating. Kelra nodded quickly. Yes, sir. The ship's engines activated quietly. Space bent around them as they turned away from Earth, before they jumped to warp. Rakkar looked one last time at the glowing portal and the silent ancient Guardian watching over it. He whispered, what have you awakened, humans? And then the fleet vanished into the darkness of space, because something was coming, something old, something hungry, and humanity was the only species preparing for it. Captain Rakkar's scout fleet cut through the darkness of space like frightened shadows fleeing a growing fire. No one spoke during the journey back, not a whisper, not a single breath louder than necessary. Every crew member carried the same images in their minds, the glowing human megastructure, the massive ancient Guardian, and the human voice inside their heads. Fear what follows. Those words repeated endlessly in Rakkar's mind. When the fleet finally reached Imperial territory, they were greeted by a full formation of warships waiting at the border, dozens of cruisers and 3-star dreadnoughts. Their cannons were charged. Their shields were raised. Kelra stared at the massive fleet in shock. "Sir, why so many ships? Are they expecting us to be hostile?" Rakkar shook his head. "No, they're scared, that's worse." The escort ships surrounded Rakkar's fleet and guided them toward the imperial capital. Rakkar could feel the tension. If the Empire was already preparing defenses, then they were not thinking clearly. They were thinking like frightened animals. Animals make mistakes. Dangerous mistakes. The Emperor calls the War Council. The moment Rakkar arrived, he was escorted to the Imperial Grand Hall. The entrance doors towered over him like the jaws of a giant beast. Inside, the Emperor and his council waited, surrounded by holograms of the human megastructure, the Guardian, and the red region beyond the galaxy. The tension was thick. No one looked calm. The Emperor's voice echoed across the hall. "Captain Rakkar, report what you witnessed." Rakkar stepped forward. Voice steady, but his thoughts heavy. "Your Radiance, the humans did not build a weapon. They built a containment system, a lock. They awakened a Guardian to stop something ancient." Gasps erupted across the council. Professor Lenvar leaned forward eagerly. "So it is true the Guardian still functions?" Rakkar nodded. "Yes, and it responds to humans. It bowed to them. It listened to them." The council shouted in panic. "How can humans control builder tech? This is madness. They must have stolen something. This is a threat to the Empire." The Emperor raised his hand. Silence fell immediately. "Captain Rakkar, do humans know we fear them?" Rakkar hesitated. "Yes, your Radiance, they know. They sense everything near the megastructure." The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "Then they are more dangerous than we imagined." Rakkar quickly shook his head. "No, your Radiance, humans are not our enemy. They warned us. Something from beyond the galaxy is coming." He pointed to the red region on the hologram. The Guardian showed them this. "The danger is out there," but the council was not convinced. An admiral slammed his fist on the table. "Humans are manipulating us. They want to distract us while they build power." Another officer shouted, "What if they are preparing to take the galaxy?" A general added, "No species goes from primitive to godlike overnight. They must be hiding something." The fear was spreading like wildfire. "The Emperor makes a choice." The Emperor stood. The entire hall fell silent. "I have heard enough," he said slowly. Everyone turned toward him. "Humans may claim to be protecting us. They may claim something is coming." He paused, "but we cannot trust them." Professor Lenvar stepped forward. "Your Radiance, we should not rush into conflict." But the Emperor raised his hand again. "No, humans awakened a Guardian. That alone is proof that they have crossed a line." He pointed at the hologram of Earth. "The Empire will not bow. We will not live in fear of a species that was weak 1 year ago and now commands the power of legends." Rakkar felt his heart drop. "Your Radiance," he said slowly, "a war with humans now is suicide. You did not see what I saw. They are not the same species we once knew." The Emperor's gaze hardened. "We have no choice. Prepare the Imperial Armada. We attack before humans activate the Guardian again." Rakkar's eyes widened. "Your Radiance." "Enough," the Emperor shouted. "The decision is made." The council bowed, but Rakkar did not this time. He stepped forward with courage he didn't know he had. "Your Radiance," he said quietly, "you are making the greatest mistake in Imperial history." The entire council gasped. Guards stepped forward, weapons drawn, but the Emperor held up a hand. "Let him speak." Rakkar took a deep breath. "If you attack humans now, they will defend themselves, and they will win." The Emperor stared into his eyes. "What makes you so sure?" he asked softly. Rakkar whispered the truth. "Because I saw a human control an ancient Guardian with a single gesture. Because I felt their voice inside my mind. Because they are preparing for something far worse than us." The Emperor remained silent for a long moment. Then he made his final judgment. "Captain Rakkar, you are dismissed from the council." Two guards grabbed Rakkar by the arms. The Emperor turned away. "Prepare the fleet. Humanity must be stopped before it is too late." Rakkar shouted as he was dragged away, "You are making war with the wrong enemy." But the council ignored him. Fear had already taken over. The Armada approaches Earth days later. The Empire's most powerful fleet gathered near the border of human space. Hundreds of warships. Dozens of dreadnoughts, 4 super titans capable of wiping out entire planets. Their engines glowed, forming a burning line across the stars. Kelra, still loyal to Rakkar, visited him in the holding chamber. Her face was pale with fear. "Sir, they are really doing it. They are sending the Armada." Rakkar clenched his fists. "They're walking into death." Kelra nodded. "What should we do?" Rakkar looked up, determination burning in his eyes. "We warn the humans." Kelra hesitated. "Sir, that is treason." "So is letting the galaxy burn." Kelra took a long breath, then nodded. "I'm with you." Humans detect the Armada in human orbit. The megastructure pulsed gently. The Guardian stood still like a silent mountain. Human ships drifted calmly around it. Then suddenly the alarms on the megastructure activated. A human operator shouted, "Massive fleet detected, Imperial signatures, hundreds of ships." The human commander frowned. "So they chose fear," the Guardian stirred. Its eyes glowed brighter. A deep rumbling echoed through space as if the Titan sensed danger approaching. The human commander touched a glowing console. "Activate defense protocols. Prepare the Guardian. Do not fire unless attacked." Human ships moved into formation. Shields brightened. Fighters launched. The Guardian raised one giant arm slowly as if preparing for war. Rakkar sends the warning. Meanwhile, Rakkar and Kelra stood inside a stolen shuttle racing toward human territory. They transmitted a message on every channel, desperate for humans to hear it. "This is Captain Rakkar of the Empire. Listen to me, the Armada is coming. The Emperor plans to attack. Prepare yourselves." Static filled the channel, no response. Kelra turned to him. "Sir, what if they don't believe us?" Rakkar shook his head. "They will. Humans understand fear better than anyone." He pressed the transmitter again. "This is not your war. Something worse is coming. The Empire is blind. Humans, hear me." Then finally a voice replied, "We hear you." Rakkar sighed in relief, but the voice continued. "However, it is already too late. The Armada enters human space." The Imperial Armada burst into human territory like a tidal wave of fire and metal. The stars shook under the weight of thousands of engines. Cannons glowed, shields flickered alive. The Imperial Admiral announced loudly, "This is your final warning, humanity. Surrender your megastructure, disarm your Guardian, or we will destroy you." Humans remained silent. Then the ancient Guardian took one step forward, one step that made space tremble. The Admiral panicked. Fire, hundreds of Imperial cannons lit up the void, and the war humans never wanted finally began. When the Imperial Armada opened fire, the entire star system lit up like a newborn sun. Thousands of plasma beams, ion cannons, and antimatter shells tore across space, all focused on one target, the human megastructure. The attack was so powerful that smaller moons melted instantly. Shockwaves spread for millions of kilometers. Any normal structure, any normal species would have been turned into dust. But humans were no longer normal. They were something else. The Guardian takes the first blow. The ancient Guardian stepped forward, raising one massive arm. A transparent wall of golden energy appeared in front of the megastructure, stretching wide across the battlefield. Every single Imperial shot slammed into the barrier and stopped. Not one crack formed, not one flicker, not one inch gave way. The Guardian stood firm, unmoved. Inside the Imperial flagship, the Admiral stared in horror. Impossible, nothing can block a full Armada volley. But something had. The Guardian slowly lowered its arm as if mocking the massive Armada. Then it lifted its head and its eyes burned like two stars. Humans respond without hate inside the megastructure. Alarms rang out, but humans did not panic. They moved calmly like a team that had trained for centuries. The human commander activated the battlefield channel. His voice was calm, too calm. "Imperial Armada, you fired first. We will defend ourselves, but we do not seek war." The Admiral shouted back, "Deactivate your megastructure, surrender the Guardian." The human commander sighed softly, almost sadly. "We cannot. The seal must remain active. You do not understand the danger." The Admiral slammed his fist on the console. "You are the danger." The human commander remained quiet. Then he said one last line before cutting the connection. "We hoped you would see reason, but we will not let your fear end the galaxy." The Guardian begins its counter. The Guardian lifted both arms. The symbols across its body glowed brighter and brighter, changing patterns as if thinking. Then a pulse of white energy shot from its chest, not an attack, a warning. The pulse washed across the Imperial Armada. Ships trembled as every system flickered. Engines sputtered. Weapons failed. Alarms screamed across the fleet. The Admiral shouted, "Shields down, weapons offline. What is happening?" A terrified officer yelled, "The Guardian is shutting down our technology." The Admiral froze. "No, that's impossible." But it was already happening. The Guardian targeted them without firing a single destructive shot. It simply touched the laws of physics around them and altered everything. Rakkar and Kelra arrived meanwhile. Rakkar and Kelra's shuttle burst out of warp near the battlefield. The moment they saw the chaos, their hearts dropped. Kelra gasped, "Sir, the Armada is helpless." Rakkar clenched his teeth. The Guardian tried to warn them. He watched dreadnoughts drifting powerless. Hundreds of warships spun helplessly, unable to move or defend. The Guardian stepped forward again. Kelra whispered, terrified, "It's judging us." Rakkar shook his head. "No. It is choosing the least violent way to stop the fight." But everyone knew if the Guardian wanted to destroy them, it could do it in a second. The humans released their weapon, a silent when human ships glided from behind the megastructure, silent and smooth. No visible engines, no exhaust trail. They moved like thoughts passing through space. They did not fire. Instead, they released waves of blue-white energy. Every Imperial ship that touched the wave went dark, not damaged, not destroyed, simply turned off, like flipping a switch. Weapons, offline engines, offline shields, gone communications. Dead Imperial ships floated like toys in a cosmic ocean. Kelra whispered, "Sir, humans are shutting down the entire fleet without hurting anyone." Rakkar nodded. "They don't want war. If they did, the fleet would already be gone." But the Armada did not understand mercy. They only saw their humiliation. The Admiral makes a fatal mistake inside the flagship. The Admiral screamed in fury. Reboot the weapons, get anything working. His officers tried desperately. One shouted, "Sir, drone launchers are still functional." The admiral roared, "Good, launch every drone we have, all of them." Thousands of small drones burst from the dreadnoughts. They were simple machines, too simple for the Guardian to disable, and they charged toward Earth and the megastructure like a swarm of angry insects. Kelra's eyes widened. "No, oh no," Rakkar slammed his fist. "They're forcing the humans to retaliate." The Guardian's eyes turned red. The Guardian slowly lifted its head toward the incoming drones. For the first time, its eyes changed color, from bright white to deep, burning red. Kelra stepped back in fear. "Sir, it's switching modes." The symbols on its body shifted violently, forming sharp patterns. The air around the Titan began to distort. A low rumbling sound spread across space. Every human stopped what they were doing. The human commander whispered, "Guardian, do not escalate." But the Guardian was not listening anymore. It had determined a threat, and ancient Guardians did not tolerate threats. The Guardian attacks. The Guardian thrust out one arm. A beam of pure golden energy shot out, stretching across space like a sword. It cut through the drone swarm in a single elegant slice. No explosion, no fire, just silence. Every drone vanished, not destroyed, not broken, simply erased from reality. The Admiral's face turned pale. The Guardian slowly turned its head toward the flagship. Everyone felt the shift. Ancient builders designed Guardians for one purpose, to protect what mattered. And the humans had become the Guardians chosen. Rakkar tries to save the Empire. Rakkar slammed open the communication channel, overriding every Imperial frequency. "Admiral, stop, you're going to get us all killed." The Admiral shouted back, "Rakkar, you traitor, the humans corrupted you." "No," Rakkar yelled desperately, "you are too blind to see. The Guardian is holding back. This is mercy." The Admiral refused to listen. "Target the Guardian, ram it if we must." Kelra gasped, "He's lost his mind." Rakkar stared at the screen, fear gripping his heart. If even one dreadnought rammed the Guardian, the ancient Titan would not show mercy a second time. Humans give their final warning. The humans sent a broadcast to the entire system. Their voice echoed across battle-scarred space. "Imperial Armada, stand down. We will not repeat this warning." The Admiral responded with fury. "I would rather die than obey a primitive species." The human voice sighed, "Then your death will be your own choosing." The Guardian's body brightened again. The battlefield trembled. Rakkar closed his eyes. "It's over," but something unexpected happened. The Guardian froze. It stopped glowing. It stopped moving. It simply turned its head upward and stared at the stars. Kelra frowned. "Sir, what is it doing?" Rakkar felt a chill. "No, it's sensing something. The real threat arrives in the distance." A tear opened in space. Not a portal. Not a wormhole. A wound. A long, dark crack spreading across the stars like a claw mark. Purple and black energies oozed out. The light around the crack died. Every ship, Imperial and human, felt the space around them change temperature as if reality itself became colder. Kelra whispered, "Sir, something is coming." Rakkar's voice trembled, "The thing humans warned us about." The crack widened and something massive began to push through. Not a ship, not a creature, not a machine. Something older, something hungrier, something that even the ancient builders feared, and the Guardian raised its arms for a different battle, a battle humans had tried to prepare for but the Empire nearly ruined. Rakkar whispered, "Gods help us, what have we awakened?" The battlefield had fallen silent. No one was firing, no one was moving. No one was thinking about war anymore. Every Imperial soldier, every human, even the Guardian stared at the same point in space. The wound, a dark rip stretching wider and wider across the star field like reality itself was tearing open. Light bent toward it like water pulled into a black hole. Space cracked like broken glass. Kelra whispered inside Rakkar's shuttle, "Is space alive?" Rakkar shook his head slowly, fear tightening in his chest. "No, something on the other side is alive, and it wants to enter." The Guardian trembled for the first time since its awakening. Its glowing armor flickered like a candle under a cold wind. That alone terrified the humans, because if an ancient builder Guardian felt fear, then whatever was coming was older and stronger than anything in this galaxy. The crack opens fully. The rip widened with a loud, unnatural sound, like metal screaming, like planets grinding against each other. Everyone, humans and Imperial forces, covered their ears as if trying to block a sound that wasn't physical but mental. Something pressed against their minds, whispering wordless hunger. The human commander inside the megastructure staggered, his eyes widened. "It's early, the seal is breaking too early." A huge burst of black-purple lightning shot out of the crack, hitting empty space with the power of a dying star. Smaller meteors instantly turned to dust. Kelra gasped. "Sir, this energy is stronger than anything the Guardian used." Rakkar nodded quietly, "Because it is not meant to protect, it's meant to consume." The first shadow emerges at last, a shape pushed through the rip, a long, curved, serpentine body of pure darkness, then another limb, then another, 12 limbs in total, thin as smoke but powerful enough to crush moons. Its skull-like face had no eyes, only a long row of sharp, glowing cracks. Its skin appeared like moving shadows, constantly shifting and crawling like living oil. Kelra's entire body shook. "Sir, what is that?" Rackar whispered the only answer he could think of, something that should have stayed dead. But the humans knew the name. The Guardian projected ancient symbols into the air, symbols that translated into one terrifying word: the Devourer. Humans reveal the truth. The human commander opened a communication channel to everyone. His voice was shaking now, not from fear, but from urgency. "Imperial Armada, listen carefully. That creature is not a weapon. It is not a machine. It is not alive in the way you understand." He pointed toward the Devourer. "It feeds on energy, on stars, on planets, on life. It is the reason the ancient builders vanished." An Imperial general inside a dreadnought gasped. "Builders died because of that." The human commander nodded sadly. "The builder race sealed it outside the galaxy. They created guardians as locks, but over billions of years the lock weakened." He pointed at the megastructure. "This is why we built this, not to fight the Empire, but to keep the Devourer trapped." The Imperial admiral shouted back, "Why didn't you tell us?" The human commander replied calmly, "Because you would not believe us, and your fear would trigger war." Rackar lowered his head. The humans had been right, and the Empire had done exactly what humans feared. The Devourer attacks the Guardian. The Devourer stretched one long limb toward the Guardian. The limb didn't swing, didn't punch, didn't blast, it simply touched. The moment it brushed against the Guardian's arm, a horrible sound erupted across space. The Guardian's armor cracked, the shockwave shattered asteroids, it rippled through space-time itself. Kelra screamed, "The Guardian is breaking." Rings of symbols across the Guardian's torso began fracturing, losing shape. Chunks of glowing alloy fell off, dissolving into dust before touching the ground. The Guardian staggered backward, the first time any being had ever seen such a thing. The Devourer put another limb forward, crawling fully into the galaxy, and thousands of Imperial soldiers watched in horror. The strongest machine ever created was losing. Humans activate Protocol Sunbreaker. Inside the megastructure, human engineers rushed to activate emergency systems. The entire structure vibrated with ancient and modern technology intertwined. A young human officer shouted, "Commander, the Guardian will fall in minutes. Protocol Sunbreaker is our only chance." The commander nodded with a firm but grim expression. "Activate it." Rackar heard the name and stiffened. Kelra whispered, "Sir, what is Protocol Sunbreaker?" Rackar's face darkened. "If I'm right, something dangerous and very old." The megastructure transforms. The giant rings around the megastructure began spinning faster. Their golden glow shifted into a bright, blinding white. The energy core inside the center expanded. Pillars of light shot outward into space. Every Imperial ship trembled under the growing pressure. The Admiral screamed, "What are humans doing? Are they insane?" But Rackar understood. They're preparing a star-level weapon. Kelra's eyes widened. "A what?" "Yes," Rackar whispered. "Protocol Sunbreaker, a weapon that uses the energy of a star to burn creatures of darkness." The commander announced across all channels, "All ships, Imperial and human, evacuate the blast zone, now." But it was already too late. The Devourer wrapped two limbs around the Guardian's torso. The Guardian let out a deep, ancient mechanical cry. The sound shook planets. Humans instantly activated the megastructure's central core, and then it fired. The Sunbreaker beam fires. A massive beam of pure white energy exploded outward from the megastructure, shooting directly at the Devourer. The light was so bright that even distant ships had to shut down sensors. The beam struck the Devourer full force. The creature screamed, a horrible bone-cracking sound that made every living being shake with fear. The shadowy limbs recoiled, burning away like paper in fire. But the Devourer was not defeated. It pulled itself forward. Using its remaining limbs to block part of the beam, Rackar watched in horror. "It's resisting the Sunbreaker," Kelra cried out. "Sir, nothing should survive that." Rackar whispered, "This thing is ancient hunger, older than galaxies." The Guardian, heavily damaged, grabbed the Devourer's limbs and tried to pull them apart. Its glowing armor cracked and shattered with every movement. Human fighters joined the battle. Their weapons, small blue beams, targeted the weak spots in the Devourer's limbs. But the creature kept pushing, kept crawling, kept surviving, because it was not trying to defeat humans, it was trying to reach the nearest star. If it touched the sun, the entire solar system would die. The Guardian sacrificed. The Guardian suddenly stopped attacking. It stared at the humans and then at the sun. It understood. The Guardian placed both hands on the Devourer and activated its final emergency code. The symbols across its body turned red, a sign of a self-destruct protocol. Kelra gasped. "Sir, the Guardian is going to explode." Rackar nodded slowly. "It's going to sacrifice itself." The human commander shouted into the void, "Guardian, no," but the Titan had already made its choice. Its body turned molten white, its core overloaded. Its limbs locked the Devourer in a crushing embrace. And then a supernova-like explosion erupted. Light swallowed everything. When the light fades, slowly the light dimmed. The battlefield reappeared, and the truth became clear. The Guardian was gone, but the Devourer was not dead. It was wounded, badly, burning and cracked, but still alive, still moving, still hungry. and it had learned something: this galaxy has energy, more than the void, more than the dead stars it fed on before. More food, Rakkar whispered, terrified. It's coming for the galaxy, and for the first time in history, humans and the Empire had only one choice: fight together or be eaten. The battlefield floated in silence after the Guardian's sacrifice. The great titan of the ancient builders, the strongest machine ever created, had exploded like a dying star. Its glowing particles drifted through space like falling snow. But there was no victory, because the Devourer was still alive. Barely alive, but alive. It crawled through the bright debris, its limbs broken, its face cracked like shattered glass. The wounds burned with white fire from the Guardian's blast, but the creature still pulled itself forward, slowly, hungrily, toward the nearest star. Rakkar stared at the creature with horror. It survived a supernova. What kind of monster is this? Kelra whispered. Sir, if it reaches the sun, the entire system will collapse. Rakkar nodded slowly. This is the moment the galaxy dies or survives. But what happened next was something the Empire had never expected. Humans stood up again. Humans prepare their final secret inside the human megastructure. Alarms screamed. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Systems flickered, but the humans did not panic. They moved with purpose. Calm, silent, determined. The human commander wiped blood from his forehead and stood tall. Activate the arc core. The room went silent. One young engineer gasped. Sir, that's suicide. The commander shook his head. It's our only chance. The Guardian weakened it. Now we finish the job. Rakkar's eyes widened as he overheard the human communication. Arc core, what is that? Kelra frowned. Sir, what if it's another builder weapon? No, Rakkar muttered. Something else, something the humans created. And he was right, because the arc core was not just a weapon. It was the most dangerous invention humans ever made. The arc core activates a giant sphere inside the megastructure began to glow. Its color was unlike anything seen, not gold, not white, not blue, something beyond physical color, more like pure idea, pure energy. Human scientists whispered among themselves, it will burn our bodies. It will tear reality. It will kill us if we lose control. It wasn't meant to be used, only stored. The commander raised his hand for silence. What we face now is worse than death, worse than war. If the Devourer reaches our sun, the whole galaxy will die. He looked at the glowing arc core. Today, humanity risks everything. The Devourer reaches for the sun. The Devourer crawled forward, dragging its broken body through space. Black smoke leaked from its wounds. Its long limbs reached toward the sun, hungry for heat, energy, life. It whispered in a voice only the mind could hear. Food, warmth, life to consume. Imperial soldiers felt as if their souls were freezing. Kelra trembled. Sir, this thing sees us as nothing but calories. Rakkar swallowed hard. Yes, that's why the builders sealed it, not because it was evil. He looked at the creature, but because hunger is pure and endless. The Devourer reached one limb toward the sun. Just one touch would ignite the star like a bomb. But then something strange happened. The human megastructure moved. It rotated faster. The rings shifted position. The core brightened until space warped around it, and then humans spoke to the entire armada. Their message was simple: stand back. The arc core beam fires, humanity's greatest risk. The human megastructure opened like a giant flower. Light poured from its center. The arc core grew brighter, brighter, until it looked like a tiny white sun encased in metal petals. The human commander raised his hand. Begin the Starfader protocol. Rakkar whispered. The what? Kelra's eyes widened. Starfader, that sounds like... Yes, Rakkar breathed. A weapon meant to fade a star. The humans aimed the arc core directly at the Devourer. Then boom, a silent explosion, a beam of pure conceptual energy, not plasma, not light. Something beyond physics hit the Devourer in the chest. The creature screamed in silence. Its limbs folded inward like burning paper. Its body twisted, cracks spread like lightning across its form, but the Devourer fought back. It absorbed the beam, drank the energy, and grew stronger. Kelra gasped. Sir, it's feeding on the attack. Rakkar shouted. Humans, stop firing, you're helping it. But humans did not stop. They increased the power. The commander whispered, trust us. The humanity trick, turning energy into poison. The Devourer laughed silently in a cruel voice, drinking the arc core's power. But then something unexpected happened. The monster began to choke, not physically, on a deeper level. Its limbs twitched. Its body shook violently. The cracks spread faster. White fire began erupting from inside it. Kelra frowned. Sir, what's happening? Rakkar's eyes widened. They tricked it. How? They fed it energy it can't digest. Kelra gasped. Poison, Rakkar nodded. Yes, humans turned the arc core energy into something toxic for the Devourer. The monster's internal darkness flared with agony. The poison attacked its very existence. For the first time in eons, the Devourer was dying. The Devourer's last breath, the monster roared, a raw, ancient, cosmic scream. It lunged desperately at the sun, trying to drain real energy to survive. The Guardian's sacrifice had weakened it. The Sunbreaker blast burned it. Now the arc core finished the job. The Devourer's limbs turned to ash, its body collapsed inward, its skull-like head cracked open. Black fire spilled out like liquid night. Then boom, a final explosion of dark energy erupted. The Devourer dissolved into a storm of black dust. No body remained, no shadow, only silence. Human sensors confirmed the Devourer is dead. The galaxy was safe. Now the Empire must face the truth as the dust faded. The Imperial Armada watched silently. They weren't cheering, they weren't celebrating, they were simply stunned. The Emperor contacted humans directly, the first peaceful communication in history. His voice trembled, shaken by fear and awe. "Humans, how did you do this? How did you create such power?" The human commander sighed. It was not just power. He looked at the Arc core now fading. It was sacrifice, intelligence, and desperation. He paused, and unity. Something the Empire does not understand yet. The Emperor lowered his head. "You saved the galaxy," Rakkar, listening from his shuttle, whispered, "and we nearly destroyed it." The human commander sent one last message to everyone. Listen carefully. The Devourer was only one creature in the void. There are more, some smaller, some much worse. Silence, dead, fearful silence. Human ships dimmed their lights. The commander continued, "We do not want war with the Empire. But we cannot fight the void alone." The Emperor listened quietly. For once he did not feel pride, he felt humility. "We understand," he said. "We will stand with you." Rakkar smiled faintly. At last, unity. Humanity had done the impossible. They killed a creature that gods feared. They saved the galaxy. They forced a proud empire to bow not through power but through truth. And the Guardian's final sacrifice shone in every drifting particle, a reminder that even ancient titans believed in humanity. The final scene, human hope. As peace settled, the human commander looked out at the stars. He whispered to himself, "We survived today, but the war against the void has only just begun." And somewhere in the dark space where the Devourer once lived, something else opened one eye, watching, waiting, hungry.